time. When I first started my work as a barista, I honestly found it hard to accept feedback from consumers. And now I've realized that feedback can lead to positive changes. As baristas, I believe we have the best opportunity to receive feedback from consumers. This gives us the opportunity to implement changes that can help elevate the overall customer's experience. The feedback that I get from most consumers is sweetness and texture are two major sensory components that consumers love the most. The coffee that I'm serving you today is a result of me listening to feedback and using that feedback to drive change in each step. I chose to serve you this coffee simply because of its amazing textural experiences, its sweetness intensities, and its floral and citrus characteristics. Don't worry about the coffee details. I'll share more about this on your last course. As a barista, my goal is to make my consumers feel relaxed. So relax, don't rush to take notes. There are menu cards in front of you that will guide you all throughout this entire experience together. You can also bring these menu cards to the backstage to use as your reference and your guide. The feedback that I hear from most new consumers is that they start their coffee journey with a milk-based beverage because of its amazing sweetness and great texture. This will be your first course. The more curious ones will even explore to espressos. This will be your second course. And the more adventurous ones will try signature beverages. This will be your last course. So for today's experience, I will walk you through a new customer's journey to specialty coffee. And in each course, the key ingredient is feedback. Now let's start our first drink, the milk-based beverage. The milk-based beverage is our introduction of specialty coffee to most new consumers. And a lot of these new consumers really enjoy that well-pronounced sweetness in their milk course. So, to give you that well-pronounced sweetness, I chose a lactose-free milk that I concentrated to 60%. Lactose-free milk has simple sugars. That's easier to perceive in our tongue compared to complex sugars. This will be the reason why our milk course today will be sweet. And when this milk interacts with the floral characteristics of my coffee, it brings out a flavor of orange marmalade. So today's ratio and recipe is 20 grams of coffee to extract 47 grams of espresso. And using a ratio of 1 part of espresso is to 3 parts of milk will bring out a creamy texture to our milk beverage today. So to enjoy your milk course, please use the spoons in front of you to stir the milk drink 3 times in a circular motion, and please place these spoons at the black cups beside your tray. Now for your milk-based beverage, please write the following flavors that you will find. Dulce de leche, followed by orange marmalade. You will also find apricot jam. A creamy and coating experience, and together with a lingering finish, long finish of vanilla wafer that's sweet and coating to your tongue. This one's for you. Enjoy. In case you miss any of those flavors, you can always refer back to the menu card as your guide. Enjoy. This drink reminds me of my favorite childhood dessert called dulce de leche because of its sweetness and texture. This one's for you. Enjoy. Because of the feedback I've learned from our consumers enjoying a lot of sweetness and great texture in their milk course, we're able to bring you this dessert-like milk beverage. Thank you. This one's for you. Enjoy. I'll be right back. The feedback that I hear from the more curious consumers venturing into espressos is that they love it when an espresso has a lot of sweetness, a great texture, and a wonderful taste balance. After relaying this feedback to our roaster, he created a roast profile that increases the extraction efficiency of my coffee. He did this by applying a higher heat at the early phase of the roast, expanding the volume of the bean that will lead to a higher extraction efficiency. Now this roast profile will bring you, please right, a medium-high acidity, a medium-high sweetness, and a medium bitterness. To maximize this extraction, I'm using a recipe today of 20 grams of coffee to extract 47 grams of espresso, and a group head temperature of 96 degrees Celsius. This recipe and group head temperature will bring out flavors of Please Right, Mandarin Orange, Orange Blossom, honey, and apricot. Now, for our two courses, the milk course and espresso, I chose these pink-colored cups because the colored pink actually increases our perception to the sensitivity of sweetness. This is what the sensory scientist shows. For our espresso, please evaluate the crema first. Don't drink the coffee just yet. This coffee tastes best at a cooler temperature. Now, the thick walls of these cups have a very specific design. It will bring you a weight of low weight, and you will notice that the cups are chilled. I froze these cups because this will bring us a silky and coating textural experiences, together with a juicy texture. Silky and juicy. The overall design of our espresso cups and together with its temperature will bring you a lingering finish of candied orange and a coating experience. Because of the feedback loop, starting from our consumers to me as a barista, all the way to our roaster, we're able to bring you an espresso that has a lot of sweetness, an outstanding texture, highlighting a wonderful taste balance. To enjoy this espresso, please stir it 5 times back and forth, and please place these spoons at the black cups beside your tray. Now enjoy. Thank you. My role as a barista is not just to listen to the feedback of our consumers, but also translate this feedback to the heart of our coffee industry, our coffee producers. For our signature beverage today, this represents the feedback loop, starting from the more adventurous consumers enjoying sweetness, texture, and those distinct floral characteristics, all the way to the most important part of our coffee industry, our coffee producers. Now, please start flipping your menu cards to the other side. Thank you. For today's experience, I chose to serve you this geisha varietal that's produced by the Altieri family, located in Alto Quil, Boquete, Panama. Grown at an altitude of 18 meters above sea level, I chose this coffee because of its sweetness, its texture, and those floral and citrus characteristics. Eugene Altieri fermented this coffee with organic yeast for 5 days. This fermentation process increases the textural quality of this varietal. Eugene then moved these geisha cherries to a cold room drying environment for 38 days. This drying technique increases the sweetness intensity of this geisha. Eugene Altieri practices a farming philosophy by listening to the feedback of his land and nature in Boquete. And this inspired me for my signature beverage today. So I'm going to use all ingredients that are sourced from the Altieri farm, starting with the main ingredient, the Altieri Geisha Espresso. 100 grams of this ingredient will be the base of our signature beverage. This espresso has a lot of those floral and citrus characteristics, and the next 3 ingredients will represent the full cycle of coffee, also related to the feedback loop, starting from the consumers all the way to the barista. Next ingredient, coffee blossom brew. This is the first part of the farm cycle. Using 50 grams of this will give us a flavor of cherry blossom, transforming that orange blossom that we tasted earlier in our espresso. I made this by using 5 grams of coffee blossom, steeping it with 200 grams of hot water for 40 minutes. Next ingredient, the middle of the cycle, coffee cascara cordial. Using 80 grams of this will give us a flavor of dark plums, transforming that apricot that we tasted earlier in our espresso. I made this by using 50 grams of coffee cascara from the Altieri farm to boil with 200 grams of hot water for 2 hours. Last ingredient, this is where the cycle ends, the filter coffee concentrate. This ingredient is inspired by the home brewers experimenting different recipes. I made this by using 150 grams of Altieri Geisha ground coffee, together with equal parts of white sugar and 200 grams of hot water to slowly strain for 20 minutes. This ingredient will transform that mandarin orange flavor to tamarind and caramelized orange. I'm going to mix all the ingredients together in this canister filled with frozen rocks, and then infusing it with nitrogen to bring us a silky texture to our signature beverage. Excuse me. For your signature beverage, please write the following flavors that you'll find. Cherry blossom, dark plums, tamarind, caramelized orange, silky texture, and a long finish of caramelized orange. This drink is a creation of feedback. Feedback from nature to the producer, consumer to the barista, barista to the roaster, roaster all the way to the producer. We all have the ability to generate a feedback loop that can help elevate the coffee industry to the next level. The feedback of others has brought me to be here with you today. If you enjoy this cold, refreshing beverage, please swirl 5 times after I call my time. I have been listening to feedback, and I believe it's the coffee industry's perfect time.
Give it up for the Barista champion.